Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. We're going on with part 2 of Codex Adeptus Space Marines. So I really enjoyed doing the first part of this. If you haven't seen that, if you have a look for it, we did Dawn and his successors. So in this Codex review, we're going to do the Ultramarines and their successors. So like with the previous one, we're going to go through warlord traits, stratagems, relics, and special characters for the aforementioned affiliations. So we did Dawn and their successors the first time. We're now going to do the Ultramarines and their successors, and there will also be a Lord of War in this review as well, because Guilliman's in the new Codex, which is really cool. So we've got a Primarch to look at. I've heard he's an absolute boss, so we'll see if that's the case. I'm sure he will be. He is a Primarch, so why wouldn't he be? So we're going to run through that, and I'll give you a bit of an opinion at the end. Because it's such a big codex and I'm doing it in lots of little parts, as I said in the previous video, I'm doing that so that if you're an Ultramarine player, you can look at this video, you go, right, Ed's going to cover all my characters, warlord traits, so I can look at that one. I can look at the other ones if I'm interested, but if I'm an Ultramarine player, I can just look at this one. So because we're going to do it in quite a few parts, I'll give a little conclusion at the end, but my main conclusion will be its own video, because it's such a big codex, it's going to have its own 20-30 minute video just on what I think of the Codex. So there will be a small conclusion at the end, but there will be a big final conclusion at some point. So let's get straight into it. So I'm going to start with the characters as we did with the Imperial Fists and have a bit of a look at what they can do. So the first one is Marneus Calgar. Obviously was chapter master of the Ultramarines. Now he's, I believe the official title, he's Guardian of Macragge or something like that, but we'll see. Guilliman's back, but he's still a boss, so let's see what he can do. So he's got a 5-inch move, he's got 2+ weapon skill, ballistical, strength and toughness 4, 7 wounds, which is really good, 5 attacks, which is also really good, leadership 9 and a 2+ save. He comes with the gauntlets of Ultramar and a relic blade. So the relic blade is +2 strength, so we're striking at strength 6. AP -3 and damage D3, so pretty solid, pretty nice. The gauntlets of Ultramar, shooting, it's basically it's a rapid fire 2 bolt gun that does damage 2, so it's quite nice. It's 4 shots at close range and doing damage 2 each time, but you're not going to win any games with it. But the melee is ×2 strength, so it'll be strength 8, AP -3, D3 damage. And obviously there's no -1 to hit or striking last or anything like that. So basically you will always use the gauntlets of Ultramar because they give him a higher strength for no penalty, really. So, but the relic blade's cool to be there because he does have it, obviously. And if in the future there's some sort of psychic power that says you can't use that weapon, you've got the relic blade. He has a They Shall Know No Fear, Armour of Antilochus, Marneus Calgar has a 4+ invulnerable save. This is cool though, so 2+, 4+, but also, in addition, all damage suffered by Calgar is halved, rounding up. So someone fires a D6 weapon at you and rolls 4, you're like, right, you've only done 2 damage. Considering you've got 7 wounds, that is pretty big. And if you had 4 wounds, you'd be like, well, 2's good enough really anyway, it's halving his wounds. But considering you've got 7, that's pretty big. He has the Chapter Master rule, like all Chapter Masters, which is you can reroll all failed hit rolls for Ultramarine models within 6 inches. Which is a nice bonus, all failed hit rolls, close combat and shooting. Master Tactician, if your army is battle forged, you receive 2 additional command points for Calgar being a warlord. So that's really awesome as well. So you're looking kind of a minimum of 8 command points as an Ultramarine, which is really cool, really useful, but also really fluffy. Really cool, that's what the Ultramarines are about. And then he's got Teleport Strike, which is just he can set up 9 inches away from enemy models. So Marneus Calgar will set you back probably quite a bit, 200 points, around 200. But I'd have no problem paying that. He's a beast in combat. There are better, again, as it should be. The Ultramarines are not actually the best fighters in combat, but he is a pretty tanky, 7 wounds. But some of the rules are really cool. The extra command points, the rerolling the hits, the damage coming in being halved. I think he's well worth 200 points. So it's Marneus Calgar, looking pretty good. Chief Librarian Tigarius, 6-inch move, weapon skill, ballistical 3+, strength, toughness, wounds 4, 3 attacks, leadership 9, 3+ saves. So okay stat line, not too bad. Probably what you'd expect. Comes with a rod of Tigarius, a bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades. So we've covered bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades in part 1. So rod of Tigarius is +3 strength, so your strength 7, which is good. -1 AP and D3 damage. So with his 3 attacks, he can do quite a bit of damage in combat, which is a nice bonus because that's not really what you get him for. And they shall know no fear. The Hood of Hellfire. You can add 1 to the Deny the Witch test you take for Tigarius against enemy psychics within 12, and you reroll failed psychic tests taken by Tigarius. So that makes him real reliable. You're going to get a lot of psychic powers off, and you're going to deny more than normal. Master of Prescience. At the start of each of your opponent's shooting phases, select an ultramarine unit within 6 inches of Tigarius. Until the end of the phase, your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls that target the unit. So that's really good as well. You're with a combat unit that's got caught out in the open, or just a high value unit, your enemy's at -1 to hit. So that's a really cool rule, really, really useful. That will be useful every game you ever play. Chief Librarian Tigarius can attempt to manifest 2 psychic powers in each friendly phase, and deny 2 as well, which is nice. And he knows Smite and 3 other psychic powers. So Tigarius looks really good. Actually not too bad in combat, but the psychic power looks really good. And that Master of Prescience is a brilliant rule. Brilliant rule. Tigarius will set you back 130. So he's actually really cheap as well, 130. He's only got 4 wounds and a 3+ save, so I appreciate he's a little vulnerable, but he's a character, so you can just hide behind your whole army. I think he's a steal, Tigarius. So whereas Calgar's worth the points, I think Tigarius is a steal. So definitely look at him if you're an Ultramarine player. So we've got Chaplain Casius next. Movement 6 inches, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, which is nice. So he bit survivability. 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 9, and a 3+ save. He's armed with Infernus, a Casius Arcanum, and frag and crack grenades. So frag and crack grenades again we've covered. Casius Arcanum we've covered, but we'll go through it again. +1 strength, -1 AP, and damage 2. So like I said in the previous part, a solid weapon, but not breathtaking. Infernus is a combi weapon, so you can fire both things. You got Mastercrafted Bolt Gun, which is a bolt gun, but it does damage 2. So yeah, it's okay, a little bit of a bonus. And a standard flamer as well. So assault D6, strength 4, AP dash, damage 1, auto hits. So certainly shooting is not where he's going to excel, but he can put on a couple of extra wounds on the enemy. He has a They Shall Know No Fear. He has a 4+ invulnerable save from his Rosarius. He has the Litanies of Hate, which we covered in the last one, which is reroll failed hit rolls in the fight phase, but not just the first fight phase. Any fight phase if you're in 6 inches of Casius. Spiritual Leader. All Ultramarine units within 6 inches of him can use his leadership, which is leadership 9, which is great. And Inspired Retribution. Roll a dice each time a friendly Ultramarine model within 6 inches of Casius is slain in the fight phase. So it is the fight phase. On a 6, the unit that made the attack suffers a mortal wound after it's finished its attacks. So they do get to finish their attacks, but then they suffer a mortal wound on a 6. It's not too bad. You're not going to get it loads, but that's 1 or 2 extra enemies killed for free, effectively, a game. So that's not bad at all. Casius is 98 points. Does he play for the Casius? Does he play for the Casius? No. Wow. So Casius is under 100 points. And in combat, like Tigarius, he's not going to do loads, but you can do a bit of damage and he's reasonably survivable. But to get the Litanies of Hate, Spiritual Leader, and Inspire Retribution for 98 points. I think Casius is also great. Let me know what you guys think, but 98 points, I think he's fantastic, really. So we've got Captain Sicarius, who's currently lost in the warp in the new background. 6 inches movement, weapon skill, ballistic skill 2+, strength 4, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9, and a 2+ save. So he's got a nice set of attacks and 5 wounds, which is good. Comes with a Tempest Blade, a Plasma Pistol, and frag and crack grenades. Also, we know frag and crack grenades. We've done Plasma Pistols as well. So the Tempest Blade is strength of the user, so it will only be strength 4, AP -3. It does do D3 damage, and any wound rolls of 6+ made with this weapon cause D3 mortal wounds instead of the normal D3. So that's a nice little boon. It won't happen too often, but you know when it does, that's not too bad. So it's okay. And They Shall Know No Fear, Iron Halo 4+ invulnerable. Rites of Battle, so because he's a captain, it's reroll 1s within 6 inches, not reroll all hits. So that's still a good rule though. Battle Forged Heroes. Friendly Ultramarines tactical squads within 6 inches of Casius can always fight first in the fight phase, even if they didn't charge. If the enemy has a similar unit or charged, it's whoever's turn it is goes first. That's cool. I mean, tactical squads generally won in combat, but that's a pretty cool rule. Kind of beholden to you to play him as a battle company leader as he is. So obviously there'd be a lot of tactical squads around, so he'd be hanging around with them. Casius is 132. Not too bad. I think he's about worth that. He's okay in combat. He's got that Tempest Blade that can do some damage, gets the rights of battle, and that Battle Forged Heroes is cool, but only if you use tactical squads, which I think with the wealth of options in the list now and Primaris may not be doing. So he's okay, not too bad. Okay, so we've got Sergeant Cronus and Sergeant Tellium. So Cronus first. So he jumps in a vehicle. He's Blistical 2+, but he can get out of the vehicle as he's got a separate stat line with 4 wounds, so quite survivable outside the vehicle. But basically he's as the vehicle, but he gives it BS 2+, which is great. He can go on a Rhino for some reason. Well, I know, obviously it's fair enough that he drives it, but just bizarre to buy Cronus for a Rhino. Rhino, Razorback, Predator, Vindicator, Whirlwind, Hunter, Stalker, Land Raider Crusader, or Land Raider Redeemer. So you can go in loads of stuff. The only thing you can't go in really is the new Land Raider for the Primaris. I think it's the Repulsor. So that's a bit of a shame, but there we go. He has a bolt pistol. He has a servo arm, which is basically a power fist, ×2 strength, AP -2, damage 3. But you can only attack once with it per fight phase. Frag and crack grenades. And they shall know no fear. And then he has Tank Commander. So he makes the vehicle have a 2+ ballistical, which is good. You know, you set them up in a Predator Annihilator. We all know how nasty they can be now. Suddenly 2s to hit with 4 last cannons is like, ouch. That could really, really hurt. So that's cool. Also, if Sergeant Cronus is commanding a vehicle at the start of your turn, he can restore 1 lost wound that is suffered, which is really nice. So you're going to be even more survivable in your tank. And you think if you've got a few tanks that are going to sit at the back line, you could also have a Tet Marine in the area, and he's going to do D3 lost wounds back a turn. So actually you're going to get D3 +1 wounds back a turn. So that's pretty nasty. So he's pretty cool. Apart from that, if the vehicle's reduced to 0 wounds, he sets up within 3 inches. So for kill points, he's quite useful actually, because he doesn't die with the vehicle. So that's quite convenient as well. So that saves you a kill point. He is 35 points steel. Every Ultramarine army, Sergeant Cronus. Get him in a vehicle, 35 points, he's an absolute steal. The 2+ ballistical is worth it, let alone the wound back a turn. So he's a good choice. Sergeant Tellium. Movement 7 inches, so pretty light on his feet. Weapon skill 3+, ballistical 2+. Strength, toughness, and wounds 4. 2 attacks, leash bait, and a 4+ save. Sergeant Tellium is single model armed with Casius, special bolt gun, bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades. So we've covered all those, but we'll cover Quietus, it technically says. It's Quietus, the silenced bolt gun, I presume. 36 inch range, heavy 2, strength 4, AP -1, damage D3, and it can target characters. So it's quite nice, because it's only 2 shots, but he's hit on 2s, and the D3 damage is nice. It's unlikely to get through their armour, but the D3 damage is quite nasty. You know, he's just at the back of the board popping away a shot a turn. Could do some damage. And they shall know no fear. Infiltrator. He can set up anything that is more than 9 inches from the enemy deployment zone. Camo Cloak. Add 2 to the same throws rather than 1. So Camo Cloaks, by the way, are awesome now. I have seen that. So he has a 2-up save, but Scouts have 2-up saves in cover now as well, as long as you give them Camo Cloaks. So they're really survivable now. Voice of Experience. In each of your shooting phases, you can add 1 to all hit rolls made for a single friendly Ultramarine Scout unit within 3 inches. So they will be hitting on 2s as well, because I believe they hit on 3s. So I still don't think Scouts are necessarily a thing you want to spam, but if you want a Scout unit with snipers and a missile launcher or something like that, Tellium's not a bad upgrade, because he gives them that Voice of Experience. He is 75 points, which is, like with some of them, it's okay. I mean, he does some cool stuff, but none of it's brutal. So he's probably worth his 75, but not probably better than that. So that's the Ultramarine characters. I did promise a Primarch, so we will do him now. The Lord of War is at the back. Brute Guilliman, the Avenging Sun. So, stat line. Movement 8 inches, weapon skill, ballistic skill 2+, strength and toughness 6, 9 wounds, 6 attacks, leadership 10 and 2+ save. 9 wounds is brilliant because it's the most you can have before you can start being picked out. So anyone who thinks, oh, you should be double figure wounds, remember you'll start being picked out then. So wounds 9 is good. Comes with the Emperor's Sword and the Hand of Dominion. The Hand of Dominion shooting is 24 inches, rapid fire 3, strength 6, AP -1, damage 2. So that's, that could do some damage. It's pretty good. The Hand of Dominion in combat is ×2 strength, so strength 12, AP -3, damage 3, so flat damage 3, which is nice. Then you've got the Emperor's Sword, which is +2 strength, so it'll still be strength 8. AP -4, so pretty much no saves, damage 3, and if you roll a wound of a 6+, it inflicts D3 mortal wounds in addition to the normal damage. So you'll average 5 wounds on that hit, including 2 mortal wounds. So absolutely brilliant, as it should be. It's the Emperor's Sword, as it should be. And he has They Shall Know No Fear. He has Armour of Fate, which gives him a 3+ invulnerable save. And also, the first time he dies, roll a d6 on a 4+, he gets back up again with d6 wounds. So obviously you could roll a 1, it's still awesome, but you could roll a 1, but you could also roll a 6 and have 6 wounds. But it is only on a 4+, so it's not going to happen every time. Author of the Codex. If your army is battle-forged, you get 3 extra command points for Ability Guilliman, so rather minus Calgar's 2, just showing he's that bit better. So you'll end up with an average of 9 in your battle-forged armies, which is epic. 9 command points, that's amazing. And you could well end up with 10, 11, 12, if you do your army right. Master of Battle, you can add 1 to advance and charge rolls for friendly Imperium units within 12, and reroll hit rolls of 1 and fail morale tests. Blimmin' heck. That's awesome. So that's Imperium, so that's big. So it doesn't have to be with Ultramarines. So 1 to the advance and charge rolls, which is good, within 12 as well. But reroll hits of 1 and fail morale tests for these units is awesome. And then the 13th Primarch, you can reroll any failed hit and wound rolls for friendly units that are Ultramarines within 6 inches, which is the mega one. Reroll failed hit and wound rolls within 6 inches. You could put 3 squads within 6 inches to hit no problem. And all of them are just going to be wrecking face. So Guilliman is 360 points and worth absolutely every penny. His stat line's awesome. He's going to be hard to... Because the thing is, toughness 6 as well, you kind of think, oh, shooting, that's not incredible. But you can't shoot at him because he's just going to hide behind everyone until he gets to combat, where he wrecks everyone completely. His weapons are amazing. They're guaranteed 3 damage considering you've got 6 attacks. Basically, no one gets an armor save against him. He's winning basically everyone on a 3 or 2. 2 up saves, 3 up invulnerable. He gets back up 50% of the time. Average of 9 command points for your army. He helps all Imperial units, but also Ultramarines specifically. He makes awesome with his reroll failed and hit wounds within 6 inches. Awesome. So Guilliman's a boss and a boss model as well. So happy days all round for him. Okay, chapter tactics. Let's have a look. So the Ultramarines chapter tactic is add 1 to the leadership characteristic of all Ultramarines with this tactic. In addition, Ultramarines units with this tactic can still shoot in a turn in which they fell back, but if they do so, they subtract 1 to hit. So it's to represent them falling back in a really orderly fashion and still being able to shoot. So that's incredible. So really beholden you to take Ultramarines infantry in that way. I shoot you all the way across the board, then you charge me, then I get out of combat and I'm still hitting you on 4s. Shooting, well, not just can I shoot, I'm hitting you on 4s as well. There's not like 6s or something like that. And add 1 to their leadership. That's incredible. That's a brilliant chapter tactic. Good for the Ultramarines. That's just a great chapter tactic. It really is. You could use that in so many ways. I honestly thought when it said fall back, I thought it was going to be fall back and you can basically snap shoot effectively. But yeah, to hit on 4s. And add 1 to the leadership, which, like I say, leadership's important nowadays. That's incredible. So we've got an Ultramarine stratagem called Scions of Guilliman. It's 1 command point. Use the stratagem when an Ultramarines infantry or Ultramarine bike unit is selected to attack in the shooting or fight phase. You can reroll all hit rolls of 1 for the unit for the rest of the phase. If the unit is a tactical squad or intercessor squad, reroll all failed hit rolls instead. That's incredible. Again, if you're doing a shooting gun line infantry Ultramarine army, you could, like that turn before the enemy hits you, you could use that. Can you use it more than once? I don't think it says, does it? I don't know whether you can use that more than once. I mean, even just once, intercessors, reroll all hits and wounds is all hits is awesome. But if you can drop multiple ones, that'd be incredible. Oh no, you can't, can you? Because it's you can only use one command point per thing, can't you? Okay, no, but that's still really good. You could use, when you've got 9 command points to use, you can just do one a turn. Bam, 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 bam. Rerolling hits basically the whole game. So that's really cool. So that's good as well. They've got a good stratagem. I don't think they've got a second one, have they? These are all just Space Marine ones. Yeah. Warlord trait, the Ultramarine Warlord trait. Adept of the Codex. Whilst your warlords are alive, roll a dice. Oh, I've seen this. This is so good. Roll a dice each time you spend a command point to use a stratagem. On a 5+, the command point is immediately refunded. So 1 in 3 of your command points are refunded. It's amazing. You've got 9, which means you're actually going to averagely end up with like 11 because of the refunds. Just an awesome warlord trait. I'm getting really excited. I'm not even playing Ultramarines. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. Okay, and they have a relic, just like everyone else. Just got to find it. Which one's the Ultramarine one? There we go. The Sanctic Halo. Ultramarines captain only, so it is quite specific. It's not just Ultramarines, it's Ultramarines captain only. The bearer of the Sanctic Halo has a 3+ invulnerable save and can attempt to deny 1 psychic power in the enemy psychic phase in the manner as a psyker. Brilliant. So you've got 3+ invulnerable. These are free, obviously, again, the chapter relics. You've got 3+ invulnerable save, and you can attempt to deny 1 psychic power in the enemy psychic phase. So you don't even need psychers, technically, if you're an Ultramarine. Not saying you shouldn't have one, but technically you don't even need them. Wow. So the Ultramarines on the front of the Codex, and perhaps that's because they thought these guys are epic, because their rules are awesome. Their characters are good. There's a couple of standouts. I think Cronus and Tigarius are brilliant, but they're all solid. There's no bad egg there. Guilliman's psychotic, but as he should be. That's not a complaint. He absolutely should be. And I can't look forward for more Primarchs, especially as my original love is Salamanders, so Vulcan's alive somewhere. So when he comes back, sometime. Their chapter tactics awesome, their stratagems awesome, their relics awesome. Just brilliant. The Ultramarines are great. Better than all of Dawn's successors, I would say, that I went through in the last part. Not by loads. I think the Imperial Fist especially is still very good. And all of them are fluffy, which is cool. All those rules about the Ultramarines, really fluffy about it, full backing, good order, and things like that are really nice. But I think they are superior, I think, from my point of view. But let me know what you guys think. I'm really interested to know what you guys think. Let me know what you think of the Ultramarines characters, about Guilliman, about the chapter tactics, what you think you could use, come up with little like tactics and say this is what I would do, use this squad and this stratagem, etc. Let me know what you think of the video, so the actual content, what I've gone through and how I've gone through it. Put all that in the comment section. Please like and subscribe the video like the video, sorry, and subscribe to the channel. I'm really excited about this channel. I'm really excited about this codex. So let me know you are too by subscribing, and we will be going through in the next part all the remaining characters and stratagems, etc. for all the added chapters like the Salamanders, White Scars, Raven Guard. So we'll be going through all that in the next part. So I will hopefully see you all there.